You guys know what time it is. Get strapped in and ready for some good times. This is the Blowed Out Podcast. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Here's your fatty with a natty coming at you on Tuesday, April 7th. Yay, I figured out the date. Well, I guess we should jump right in with all the prophetic and non-prophetic things I have to talk about. How's everybody doing? Hopefully they're doing good. It's been a crazy week, like always, right? But the good news is as of the moment, we are not going to bed or waking up in World War III, which, mind you, I don't think was going to happen either way, but at least for now, the scare tactic has at least been, well, I don't know that I would say successful, but it is at least being postponed for 2 weeks to allow diplomacy to try and continue. On that note, the people who are crying that all of this is illegal and that it's a war crime or was going to be a war crime, all these things, I don't necessarily think any of those things are true. Now, granted, I am no congressional law scholar. However, he didn't need approval to start this mess. I'm not happy that it's still going on, mind you, but just getting in there real deep like. Sorry, studio dog. But, like I said, I'm not thrilled that it's still going, but it was never illegal for him to do what he did in the first place. And threatening their infrastructure is not a war crime because the things that he is threatening may also be used in a military capacity, i.e. fuel supply, power, things of those nature. All of these things have been used throughout time to try and cripple regimes and used as tactics to try and do exactly what the current administration is trying to do. Now, this may have started in some way to try and flex, which is debatable depending on who you ask. At the end of the day, I certainly don't know. I'm a nobody. However, now, the evidence is continuing to mount that Iran did have some looming nuclear things that could have eventually turned into nuclear weapons. And love or hate him, I have to agree that would be a bad thing. I think we can all agree on that. No one wants to see a nuclear-capable terrorist regime. Now, does this mean they're going to stop? Of course not. All this will do is set the ones back, possibly, that are just going to rebuild and try again. I mean, at the end of the day, it's no big shocker that there are a lot of folks over there, we've talked about it before, that don't want Western civilization or basically anyone other than them to exist. So, again, right, wrong, or indifferent, at the end of the day, there's going to be some stuff, and it's going to affect the global geopolitical climate. But it's, like I said, it will end up being a good thing sooner or later. That's where the questions come in, is how long is that going to take and to actually solve the problem. Again, a couple of years ago, I'm sure we talked about this at length with other organizations or countries or entities, shall we say, that were potentially a problem for the globe. Well, we've talked about the little Willy Wonka North Korean feller. Same thing. We don't need some little crazy dude just running around threatening everybody he doesn't like. Yes, I realize that the similarities are ironic. However, we have to hope, at least I do, that at least some of these things are being done in our best interests. And by our, I mean everyone else on the rock. Like I said, all we can do is hope. We're just going to have to see how it goes. I think all you guys are smart enough to know that. I know that. I'm not losing any sleep over the fact that, any of these things could go horribly awry at any moment, because it's not any more than normal. In the grand scheme of things, these are all issues that have always been looming, at least in my 50 years on the planet. Much like in the past, and much like now, and much like in the future, do I personally believe that there could have been other ways to deal with it, or could it have been dealt with differently? Absolutely, but I don't think that will ever not be a factor when there are a group of people in control of a mass of people, i.e. the government. Again, we have to hope and pray, if you're into that sort of thing, that they are speaking and acting on our behalf. We all know that's not true, but we have to hope, and we have to hope that at least some of them have some sense about them, or at least some sort of a good game plan to keep us out of what could be potentially worse than it is now or has been in the past, and realistically will be in the future. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I will die on the hill of the fact that the current administration is no worse than administrations we've had in the past, and will be no worse than administrations we will have in the future. It's just a political, governmental thing that there's just no good answer for. And like I said, I know we've talked about it, and so far nobody's just chiming in with the answer. Unfortunately, that includes myself. So, like I said, at this point, all we can do is hope. The bonus is, it's been bad before, it'll be bad again. We made it out last time. Theoretically, we'll make it out this time and next time. It typically never changes. That's why it's best to just turn on some tunes, crack a cold one, go fishing, touch some grass, hang out with your kids. Go ride roller coasters if you're into that disgusting sort of thing. I only say that because I can't fit in half of them. However, there are certain ones that I appreciate not being able to fit into, because they are unnatural and have no business messing with my equilibrium in the way that they do or would. No, some of those things are death traps, and I will just watch as someone else rides it and scrambles their insides. Sorry, that's just how it is. I'll do some other real dumb shit. I think we all know that, but riding a roller coaster that goes upside down too much or beyond straight down, yeah. I'm getting old, guys. I don't think I can hold my innards in the small, not as strong as it used to be exit facility that they may fall out of on some of those rides. I mean, if we're being totally honest, it took me several years of of attempting and working myself into doing some of the dumb stuff I've done on dirt bikes and race cars and four-wheelers and all kinds of other things. I'm not a big fan of going up hills where I can't see anything but sky. It freaks me out, I'm not going to lie. And then once you get to the top, at least getting to the top, you have the motivation of, oh shit, it's going to suck if I don't. So you have the motivation to make it to the top, but once you're there, you still have to figure out how to get back down, and that almost sucks worse. Yes, I am voicing my fears with hills. It's just how it is. I know. Of all the dumb shit I'll do, hills are one of my bugaboos. Specifically, hills that I am trapped inside of a vehicle if we start to tumble backwards to the bottom of the hill. And at least on a four-wheeler or a dirt bike, I can throw the bike away and just, hopefully, theoretically, just plant my chunky ass and not roll all the way to the bottom. I realize that physics would tend to disagree with that theory, but somehow it makes it better in my brain. I'm not sure if I've ever told you guys this or not, but some folks know a handful or two, maybe now, years ago, it ain't nobody getting any younger, and it's not slowing down. So, several handfuls of years ago, perhaps now, I was in Moab, Utah, which is an amazing place. If you've never been, I highly recommend it. I had never been and was amazed. It's a wild place. It's a whole different, it's like you're on Mars. I mean, it's just gorgeous, and it's a completely different world down there. But my little brother-in-law, I was down there to marry him to my sister, and he was a Jeep guy. You guys have met him, just in case or just in time. He was a Jeep guy, and he enjoys that kind of mess inside of a cage. So he said, okay, come on, let's go, and I'll take you and show you some of these cool places. I thought, okay, I've got this rodeo that is perfectly capable of going anywhere I want it to. But I had blown out my ankle, and I can't remember if I was awaiting surgery to have the 2.5-inch screw put through my ankle and my tib fib, or if I had just had it done. But either way, I was in a boot. So perfect off-roading attire, and why not possibly go and get stuck to where I will have to get out and dig or winch or, other things. I also would like to mention that I had my knee scooter in the roof rack of said rodeo while we're going on this horse shit off-road adventure, and my children in the back. And we go on a trail in Moab called Fins and Things. And he says, well, we won't do the whole thing, because I know you're super sketched about it. We'll just do some of the easy stuff. I said, okay. But I wanted to see, like all the sights, all the stuff you see on YouTube, all the crazy places that all the Jeep guys go, and some of the crazy obstacles they do. So I said, well, what about Lion's Back? Everyone has seen the video, and if you haven't, I implore you to go check it out on YouTube. But there's a video of a blazer, if I remember properly, a like a square body, like mid-'80s Blazer that comes careening down Lion's Back. It's completely out of control. No brakes, no trans, like nothing to hold it back. Everything had failed on its way back down, and it comes down like a bat out of hell, just bouncing and just pummeling to the bottom with some poor soul in it before it just completely wads up into beer cans at the bottom. So he shows me that, and it's all gated off now because it was pretty dangerous, and possibly not the obstacle itself, but a lot of folks have been injured, and a lot of vehicles have ended up off the sides to the point that they are unrecoverable. And so the BLM, or I suppose it's the BLM, decided to shut it down to preserve what was left of it. In fact, I have another friend, an old friend, that has a vehicle that I'm pretty sure is still there, like off the cliff side at the bottom of a ravine that they had to hike down to and pull all of the stuff out of, the trash and everything that was environmentally unsafe, because it's just going to live there for the rest of its life. But anyhow, so he says, well, but Baby Lion's Back is just right up the road here, and we can still go up that. I said, okay. I've got my Egg McMuffin, because it's in the morning, and we hit the McDonald's, which is always a good idea when you're about to go off-roading and possibly shat your pants, is you should eat McDonald's, because it just helps everything come out easier. That's my theory, at least. I mean, either way, you're going to ruin the seat, so you might as well do it gracefully. But he goes, my sister, and him go up this Baby Lion's Back while I sit at the bottom and watch. And I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, it doesn't look terrible from here. And I watch them go all the way up, no problem. And then they get to the top and turn around and start coming back down. And I realize that the noise I'm hearing is his back tires just barking as they're sliding just uncontrollably coming back down this behemoth. And everyone who knows me is rolling their eyes, or everyone who knows Baby Lion's Back is rolling their eyes at me, because it's really not that bad. My description of said hill is way worse than the actual hill itself. But again, I'm in a boot, in a knee scooter, and my young kids. And so I start to go up this thing. And as soon as I can see nothing but blue sky out of the windshield, literally nothing, I might as well be sitting in the space shuttle waiting to take off. That was good enough for me, and so I yelled at him out the passenger window to take a picture so it would look cool. And then I proceeded to just back down. Yeah, like I said, if I'm trapped in a seat, that's it for me. And we went on to do that and explore several more miles and trails within Moab until we came to another obstacle. That getting to the obstacle was fine. I doing a little bit of cool stuff, like getting pretty crazy side angles and climbing up some rocks and some stuff like that. But then we came to another ginormous cliff. And again, I just had to draw the line, and I apparently will never live that down, at least in his eyes, because he still loves to tell people that story and how I was too much of a bitch to go down that thing. Meanwhile, I had already used every McDonald's napkin I could find trying to save the upholstery. I'm all right with it, Like I said, give me a four-wheeler or a dirt bike, and it's a whole different story. But if I'm trapped in a seat, I'm out. You know what else I wish I could tap out of is trying to convince my teenage daughter, that the things I do, or the things I don't allow her to do, rather, are in her best interest, and that someday she will thank me. I don't know how to do that without just feeling horrible. I really don't. I wish there was a book, a guidebook, because it just makes me feel awful when your kids get busted about something that you won't let them do and they don't realize it's for their own good. I know we've talked about this before also. I would like to think that I was smarter than that as a kid. I'm pretty sure every 50-year-old says that also, but I'm sticking with it. And I just wish there was a way to let them see, like down the road when they have a teenage daughter, the things that you're telling them no or advising them against, that someday they will go, oh yeah, that fat bastard was right. That is a horrible idea. I'm glad he didn't let me do that. How do you deal with that, guys? Can someone let me know that's done this like 6 or 7 times? In fact, Maddie without a natty and I talk about it frequently because he's done it several times more than I, for sure. And it always seems to end in the same place of just, it is what it is, and you have to stick with your guns and hope that someday they realize it also. But I certainly don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy that as much as Hills. It never makes you feel great. Anyhow, like I said, it is what it is, and there are much worse things in life than being told you can't do something for your own good, I guess. As I get ready to head into a break here, I was going to mention that we have officially entered second spring here in Utah, and the temperatures are coming back up, and I realized that I had more things to add to the list of things I don't like, one of which is moths. Stupid moths that flop all around your head by the porch light because they're teenagers apparently, and they don't understand that LED lights don't emit any heat, and they want to just bug you while you're outside taking a break from your podcast. Anyhow, just figured I'd throw that in there. We'll be back shortly, kids. Oh, that's what I was going to also say. The numbers in this week for the show are really, really fantastic, and I want to thank you guys for your continued support. I'll probably do it again at the end because I'm an idiot, but picking up a lot of cities and countries. Keep spreading the word, guys. I appreciate every bit of it. I hope everyone's enjoying it around the globe. Anyhow, just wanted to throw that out there that, like I said, the numbers are looking really fantastic this week, so keep it up. I also, apparently I didn't know that there was quite as many outlets to listen to the show as there are. And, I mean, I knew, like, all the places that I feed it to every time I upload an episode, but apparently a lot of those piggyback on others. So, man, you can listen to this show just about anywhere. I mean, obviously Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, Apple, but I didn't know Audible, and I didn't know that apparently Alexa is considered different than Amazon, YouTube, Apple. There's a bunch of places, and it's really wild because, like I said, I didn't realize that all of those places piggyback so much. There's like 30 different places you can listen to the show on top of the regular big ones. So, like I said, I appreciate it. Keep it up, guys. Keep telling everybody. The numbers are great, and we love it. Hey folks, Ryan here, aka the Fatty with a Natty. Are you a business owner or marketing director looking to explore advertising on the Blowed Out podcast? As we prepare to enter our 4th season, we've gained a listening audience in over 125 cities spread across 21 countries worldwide. That includes a very large listening base right here in northern Utah. To find out how we can help your business grow or to discuss pricing and frequency options, email us at blowedoutpodcast@gmail.com and be sure to include marketing in the subject line. Again, that's blowedoutpodcast@gmail.com, subject marketing. Just in case anyone was wondering, Project Hail Mary is pretty damn good. It's really long. And of course, I don't advocate necessarily paying what they're charging to see it. Well, that's, in all fairness, the tickets weren't awful, but steer clear of the concessions. Good Lord. I know that's not a big surprise to anyone, but it, unless you are rolling in there with good credit, like you're going to buy a damn new truck, yeah, just forego the concessions. But, again, really good. I did see a couple of larger fellers that got a couple of tears jerked. So just beware. There are a couple of scenes that are tear jerkers, but it's really good. Really good overall. I do recommend it. It's actually quite an interesting concept for those of us who believe that there is life out there, and believe that things like Artemis actually just went to the dark side of the moon. I don't disagree that there are some pretty solid, or at least fairly convincing, conspiracy theories out there as to whether or not we actually ever went to the moon. Not so much that the Earth is flat. That one, I've been in too many airplanes. Y'all are just outside your minds. But as far as whether or not we actually went to the moon, there's a lot of weird stuff with that. But again, I'm no physicist. I just like rocks, so I can't speak to that. I do believe that they did something, as evidenced by lots of videos of them taking off and actually at least entering the stratosphere. So I don't see why we would go to such lengths to cover a lot of things up. Some of the pictures and video were interesting to say the least, at least in the beginning. Again, I'm sure there's already conspiracy theories out there as to whether or not they are photoshopped or whatever else, but I'm choosing to believe that we actually did it. And some of the images are just stunning. If you're following this stuff or if you're interested, there are some really cool images coming back. Supposed to be back, I think, on Friday, I believe. Supposed to splash down. Like I said, I am of the opinion that we're not alone. Not to the crazy degree of some folks. I know what I think, and I don't think that is so far-fetched. It is a big, big universe, guys. And I don't possibly see how we could be the only swinging ones out here. But anyhow, like I said, interesting concept as far as having to send a mission to try and preserve human life as we know it. Like I said, it's really interesting. And anyway, really good show. Check it out if you have a chance or if you're into that sort of thing. Sadly, that ties us back into all the talks we've ever had about believing or not believing everything we see on the internet. So, unfortunately, we have no way to tell, but for me personally, I've always been interested in the cosmos, and I think that there are some really great things out there if if you choose to actually delve into it and go beyond Facebook or Instagram or social media. At least I'm sure there are some really fantastic scientific websites, astronomical. Sorry. There's probably both. And I guess if you're wondering what your sign is, but astronomical websites that would have a lot more details and a lot better stuff than social media at this point. We all know that social media, as fun as it is and as addicted as I believe we all are, it is the devil, guys. Speaking of over the moon, it's a terrible segue, but I just finished up a couple more Blowed Out Podcast t-shirts for a couple of folks. Still got some more. I'm still going to try and get another round of them finished up to go with the stickers and swag for the X12 motorcycle hill climbs in Plymouth, Utah, coming up at the end of the month. I know I talk about it a lot. It's kind of our big baby, so I hope to see everyone there. Like I said, if you guys have never seen this kind of stuff, or if you used to enjoy Widowmaker back in the day, come on up. It's a great hill. It's a great time. Plenty of vendors. We could probably still work out some sponsorship deals, possibly. It's too late for the posters or the shirts, but we could possibly work out something with some airtime, some advertising opportunities for you if you wanted to get in on it somehow still. Obviously, we'll be announcing and throughout the weekend and have banners and all that type of stuff. So there's still sponsorship opportunities available. If you're interested, please reach out to me, and we can try and get something worked out. Even though it seems like last minute, to me it's last minute, but technically there's still time. We've got a lot to do before then, but it's going to be a great event. I can't promise that we're going to be at any of the other events, either Moto Climb or like Washington Nitro Nationals or any of those events coming up on the coast, or even some of the other races in the Rockwell series. Obviously, we would love to, and we're going to try, but can't make any promises at this point, just because we put so much time and money and effort into this event here at home. It leaves us kind of strapped for the rest of the season, but we're definitely leaving that open to possibilities. So again, if you'd like to try and figure out something last minute for that, reach out to myself or Maddie without an Addy. I guess on this platform, blowedoutpodcast@gmail.com, will reach both of us. So also, if you are a local company or even not local, or at least close enough or wanting to make the trip, we can still fit in some vendors, or even food and drink opportunities. We still have room available, guys. Luckily, that's the bonus of having a ginormous property. So, like I said, hit us up. We'll figure something out if you guys would like to get in on it. I know I mention this a lot. I will, unfortunately, continue to mention it through the rest of the month. That's just the thing. When this is kind of our Christmas, that's just how it goes. So hope you don't get sick of hearing about it. Again, anybody who has questions, even across the pond, man, if you're looking to just get out of town for a minute, hit me up. I can give you details. We'll get something figured out. It'll be a great time, I promise. Interestingly enough, we were just talking about this last weekend, Maddie and I, about our first experience. Oh, Lord, like 16, every bit of 16 years ago with Widowmaker. We had been involved in motorsports and racing of all different kinds and everything prior to that. But I remember Matt calling me one time and said, "Hey, that guy from Widowmaker called me back and he wants to meet us up at the hill." And again, this is back in the 2000 single digits. I said, okay. So we ran up there, and here's this guy that seemed kind of unhinged. And we all love and know the Mo. But at the time, I was just like, okay, hey, I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you. And he said, well, hop in. Let's go for a ride. I'll show you around. I said, okay. So we climb in this Ranger that I had, I'd always wanted one. I still want one, if we're being honest. But so we jump in this Ranger with this dude that I had literally known for 4.5 minutes, possibly. And we start tooling around the property up in Croydon. And, he's laughing and he's pointing stuff out. He said, oh, there's the big hill, and that's Mo Hill, and there's Champ Hill, and, all these hills, and up on the deck, and here's the bridge, and here's the spectator area, and all this stuff. And then he says, well, let's go, I'll take you up to the top. I'm like, okay. And I'm just kind of holding on, entrusting whatever. I honestly, I had no clue what to expect. And next thing I know, he hooks a hard right, and we're headed up the side of this mountain. and again, I mentioned my fear of these things, and he's just laughing and hooting and hollering away. And if anybody happens to know Mo, you will understand this. He's a lot crazier than me, and one of the best guys I've ever met in my life, and I'm truly honored to call him a friend at this point. But he hooks it. And so we kind of go up, and it's the return road, so it's not real bad. It's, it's some turns and some hills, and it's a little twisty, but at the end of the day, we're still going up the side of this mountain. And for those of you who don't know, this is not a hill. I'm sure you can Google it, YouTube. There's all kinds of ways you can see this hill for those of you around the globe who don't know what I'm talking about. It's Widowmaker in Croydon, Utah, Croydon, Utah. So you will see it's not a hill. It's not like the East Coast stuff, and I love you East Coast guys, but they're just not the same. This is a mountain, not a hill. So we're cooking along, and we get kind of up. We're about 500 feet up, 600-700 feet-ish on this kind of a catwalk. And he goes, so this is the catwalk down, and we go over, and he shows us the pump system, because at that hill we had water and all kinds of crazy stuff, a bunch of infrastructure that comes with years of, having an event on the same hill for years, which is what we're actively working towards at X12. Unfortunately, these crazy types of infrastructure just take time, lots of time and lots of money. The season is short. There's only so much you can do. In Croydon, we had the benefit of a spring-fed pond year-round, plus a creek. So we had water sources on the property, and there was a lot of things that made that property unique in that way that other properties just don't have, unfortunately. So he's showing us that stuff, and he says, you want to go to the top? And I said, well, I don't know. And before I could even answer, he had hooked another hard right, and we're going straight up the side of this damn mountain. And I'm doing everything I can to hold in my grits in the passenger seat of this Ranger with this guy I literally just met, thinking, yeah, okay, well, this is it. This is how I die. And Matt is the only person that even knows I'm here because he's with me. And we go straight up this baby. And this is one of the probably that hill, the only sketchy part of the return road. It was a great setup, but there was this section that was all but straight up and down. I mean, not cliff straight up and down per se, but this section from the 500-foot catwalk to the 1,000-foot catwalk was literally just yip, and that was it. And then once you got to the 1,000-foot catwalk, it just took a hard right and then leveled off, and it might as well have just been, your driveway, the street out in front of your house. It was no big deal, but man, that 500 feet in between those two catwalks was just ridiculous, and it was all loose rock. And he's just cooking and rattling away and laughing and just having the time of his life. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how am I going to interrupt this guy telling me stories and about this hill long enough to tell him that I may or may not shit all over the seat of his Ranger when this thing just starts tumbling backwards or sliding backwards? Well, long story short, we didn't, obviously. I'm still here to talk about it. And then over the next, 5 or 6 years, I guess, probably, I went up and down that section of road hundreds of times. And I don't think that it ever got any less mildly terrifying. But that first time, you will never forget. Like, once you can fully grasp the steepness and the duration and just the magnitude of these hills, it puts a whole new perspective in things. And I really hate trying to describe it. I mean, I don't hate trying to describe it, but when you look at pictures, the pictures never do it justice. I mean, there are a lot of great pictures. My dear friend Hank Zerbier, wonderful photographer. Go ahead and check out his stuff, HenkZurbier. Great photographer. He's got a lot of fantastic shots. He comes up and shoots. He's coming up again this year to shoot. So shout out to my dear friend Hank. We used to work on aircraft together back in the day, but even some of his shots, as wonderful as they are, and as amazing as they are, through the lens, they just don't do the hill justice, because to get those great shots, you're on the hill also. But I can tell you, as a chunky individual, that hill is the damnedest thing I have ever decided to try and go up or down. And dozens and dozens and dozens of times over the years have thought to myself, what is my dumb, top-heavy ass doing in the middle of this mountain? If I snap a cankle, I'm going straight to the bottom, no pass and go, no collecting $200. I'm getting life flighted out of this bitch. But again, I think Hank will also agree. Everyone who's ever been on the hill, I love all the guys who have supported us over the years and continue to do so. But they will agree that from the bottom, or from the spectator area, or even again in pictures, you look at it and go, well, that's not that bad. That doesn't look that bad. But again, that's because the camera is on the same hill, on the same angle, like shoveled into a little spot so you don't fall down while you're trying to take pictures. Like I said, a bunch of amazing, great shots, and I love all of them. But until you see it in person, you just can't fathom the magnitude of these hills. So, I know I go on and on, but I hope that at least you enjoy listening to it. Like I said, I promise it's one of the greatest things you'll ever experience, guys. Again, big shout out to Hank. Like I said, dear friend, I love him dearly. I appreciate everything. Check out his stuff. He's a huge airplane guy. He has some amazing work, guys. Hank Zurbier Photography, HenkZurbier photography.com. I won't spell out the whole thing, but HenkZurbierphotography.com. He's fantastic, and as great as his shots are, you still have to see it in person. I know I've rattled on enough about hill climbs and moths and going up hills and everything else. Honestly, we could go on all night, probably every night, talking about, oh Lord, no kings rallies and geopolitical nightmares and Straits of Hormuz and all that garbage, but I don't feel like that's what you guys actually want to hear. I don't know. Maybe some of you do, maybe some of you don't. I like to mix it up. You know, we've talked about this a million times, guys. I just want to talk. I want to talk about all kinds of stuff. You know, hopefully everybody enjoys it. Like I said, I would rather just rattle on about some crazy shit, tell some stories, and be entertaining than just nonstop blah, 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 blah. You know, Kevin Costner said this, and Tom Hanks cried about that, and Billie Eilish said she's not going to make any new music until the war is over, and Ilhan Omar said she's going to sue Trump. Or God, it's so exhausting, guys, and I hope that you guys feel the same way. I really do. There's a time and a place for those things, and yes, we go into that, not necessarily at depth, but I feel like it's enough, right? We kind of switch it up. We keep things interesting. But like I said, we could go on about that shit nonstop, probably hell till we all expire. And that just sounds awful. So I'm going to keep switching it up. I hope that you guys will keep enjoying it. I'll probably say that 10 more times just before the end, but I'm trying to remember that I've already said it a bunch. Either way, like I said, I think that's enough for this week, or at least this episode. Try and be good, guys. I hope you're all doing well, or at least half-ass. I hope you're at least holding it together. If there's something I can do, which I don't know what or how much, but if there's something you think that I can help with, or try and help with, or if there's something you want to talk about, hit me up. Please, any of us, like I said, blowedoutpodcast@gmail.com, or on social medias. It all comes to the same place. If there's something you want to ask myself or Maddie or Miss Lady or anybody, it all goes to the same place. I will make sure it gets to the appropriate person. Like I said, going to continue working on the swag. So stickers and t-shirts are available. As I mentioned, sponsorship opportunities with us, also with our partners. If you guys want to check out any of those things, the hill climbs are x12events.com. Also check out Facebook / Evolution Design Works. Fine Finishes in Salt Lake. I guess I should probably have a better address for that, but I don't. So I'll work on that, I promise. Anyhow, those are our partners, and if you want to talk about anything, or if I can get you in touch with any of those folks, feel free to reach out to us. Other than that, as always, love one another, keep spreading the word, try and be good, and until next time, love you guys. Cheers!